And so this is the live stream for January the 4th, 2016. This is the 4th stream of 2016. The intro we kind of screwed up, so I got the recording button back on. We are live streaming at livestream.com. And that's at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Canada time most mornings. And I smurfed up already this morning, and that's okay. Let me see if I can get back on track. Okay, I gotta do this the hard way sometimes. And that's okay too. What is the hard way, Dana? Okay, well, good morning everybody. Ron, Albert, anybody? Gabriel, Ice Cream, Candace, anybody I missed? Kate is there. Kate got the hounds. You'll find links below my YouTube channel. I'm having problems with this site. I'm starting to work it out, but you can't put much stuff underneath these livestream.coms. So far, I keep losing everything, so I just got it down to a couple of sentences just to give it some context. And let's get on with the stream. Boycott Japan, Japanese products, and the Olympics. And it always takes us 5 minutes to get into the live stream. That's okay too. And today we got a lot to cover. Uncertainties from tritium emissions, proposed fusion power reaction, and radiological impacts. Just give me a second here. I think we covered some of that yesterday, didn't we? These are studies. Yeah, we covered that one yesterday. Tritium health. Although tritium is not an external radiation hazard, it can present serious contamination problems. And Canada had just pulled this model from their site and put up a different model, but it doesn't look like that anymore, and it's harder to find. But artificial radionuclide tritium, 3H, this is man-made. This is not sun hitting water. This is nothing hitting water. This is man-made from fissionable products. 7,000 becquerels a liter. So in the previous studies over the last couple of days, we had showed how tritium pre-Fukushima studies after study after study around the world was 1.4 becquerels per cubic meter to 8 becquerels a cubic meter. But yet here we are in Canada with 7,000 becquerels in a liter. That's 7 million in a cubic meter. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. And the reason they snuck that out there, they kept raising the limits and raising the limits. And there's a really good headline there that'll help you. Got to get rid of the other stuff first there, Mr. Dana D. Canadian nuclear expert, reactors in Canada releasing 200 trillion becquerels of tritium every year. That's madness. That's insanity. This is catastrophic on its own. Just that one. We're not talking about Fukushima for this second here. We're talking about just what reactors do. 25 reactors in Canada. And because of that, that's why we have these bizarre, unimaginable. Hang on a second. Numbers. And why we're here. That's the sunset, glow of California sunset. If you look at the models for pollution, say from forest fires or automobiles or industry from Asia, let alone Japan, you'll find that when it comes across the Pacific corridor to North America, and the jet streams are 100 miles an hour or faster, and so that's 2,400 miles a day. In 2 days, 48 hours, that's 4,800 miles. And then at the end of 3 days, it's halfway across your continent. In 4 days. But what happens is around California, all the pollution kind of swirls around for 1,000 miles for a couple of months. And it's just the way the prevailing winds, it's the way the heat from the land, it's the way the valleys, it's the temperature of that country or that that state itself. And the stuff stays liberated and adds to the index of pollution. And so the radiation that comes over is doing the exact same thing. All right. Okay, Dana. Thank you, Dana. But just for a quick chat here, this is the Globe and Mail here in British Columbia, Canada, and they sell uranium stocks constantly. They came out and demonized me, accused me of uttering death threats. I'm charged with criminal harassments and nuclear pukes like them. And so all of Canada smeared me. But anyway, these people, they sell uranium stocks constantly. They're talking about uranium mines now, warning the stockholders to hang on to their money and put it somewhere else. Support has become resistance for uranium energy. This is the Globe and Mail, for goodness sakes. This is your media out telling you lies. Think uranium has bottom? After Fukushima, they've done nothing but pump it out there. Look at it. Think uranium is bottom? But uranium is a dirty bomb. It's a dirty bomb. That's what Japan is doing to North America and the entire planet, and has wrecked the Pacific Ocean. It's wrecked the Pacific Ocean. But nuclear in general just wrecks everything anyway. 200 trillion becquerels a year. Canada sneaks in 7,000 becquerels in a liter, but you don't measure it in a liter. You always measure it in a cubic meter. Because you didn't want to put up 7 million becquerels. You know why they didn't want to put up 7 million becquerels? Think about this. 7 million becquerels, if they had to put there for cubic meter. But look what the total uranium was, not even in becquerels, it was only in milliliters, because it hasn't gone through a chain reaction yet. Look at the lead, but look at the radium, the natural stuff. So if you put that in a cubic meter like it used to be, it's still not really, because that disappears before you can get it to your lips. The tritium, the strontium, the iodine, the cesium, that's there long after your human experience. And tritium is accumulating every day. If you get baths, if you get showers, you wash your laundry, you brush your teeth, there's all these other cooking food and everything else, not just drinking water. And it sequesters, and like we've showed so many studies. But see, you couldn't put up, whatever it is, 100 becquerels a cubic meter for radium, and then put up 7 million becquerels for man-made. So they've done it in liters. And even in liters, it looks hideous. 0.2 becquerels for lead, 7,000 becquerels for man-made. But we're acclimated to lead. We're acclimated to the uranium, the natural uranium. They call it total uranium, but it's natural nuclides. Look at the top, right? Look at it. Look at the very top. Natural radionuclides, and the other one is artificial. So let's go bang into some stories. But think about what the Globe and Mail is doing. Think about that. Dirty bombs. Everybody's buying the stocks, is buying stocks to kill themselves and their friends and their loved ones in this entire planet. Because Fukushima has killed the Pacific Ocean. If you're not familiar with that, just let me give you a basic. What we done was we covered 15,000 plus miles of the coast. The arrows are just representations of where we were. And that we took a couple of 100,000 pictures. We done that for 260 days. A great pearl to myself the entire time, because we had a tiny operation, and we were raising money to complete the operation for 260 days and 15,000 miles. We done that because we needed to verify was there damage, because the damage is not. You wouldn't originally go look at the whales or the big mammals, not that you shouldn't, but you normally would. You would go into the microscopic, or to the insect, or to the larvae, or in the ocean case, it would be the tidal zones, because that is the nursery of the ocean, see? And so every square millimeter is loaded. I spent 14 years diving both Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. I know it extremely well, unimaginably well. And we're talking 300 days a year for many years, diving 6 hours a day. And so when I went out there, instead of looking like that, and when I got there, it looked like that. And when you got ashore, it looks like this. So this is very significant, what I'm showing you. This is devastating, what I'm showing you. You had a healthy environment. These are all the original pictures from the same area. Now there's just slime and nothing else. I mean, this was one of the most coveted spots on the planet for British Columbia, for sure. It was isolated, completely isolated. Instead of looking like that, it looks like this. Instead of looking beautiful and wonderful, and every millimeter got some kind of fungi, or there's 70 sponges, and there's 78 species of sea anemones, and there's all the, but all you got left was that bit of algae, slime. It's not algae, it's slime. From lack of oxygen. Put water out there and let it go stale, and you'll get the same slime. Because everything else is gone. So 5,600 species, those species you're looking at, like a low tide, this is what it should look like right there, right? That whole shoreline should be full of life like that. And in that particular spot, you would get 75 of these per square meter. 75 of the leatherback sea stars. 75. You couldn't count 75 in the 3,000 pictures I got up at the nuclearproctologist.org. Right? You can't count 75 of the species up at my site. I got 3,000 pictures of this whole area, and this is what it all looked like. That's why everybody ran around, and it looked like this, and it looked like that. Now it looks like this. It looks like that. It looks like that. It'll never look like that again. It'll never look like this again. It'll never look like that again. That's why people went there, though, because it was amazing. Now you go there, and there's nothing there for a bird to feed on. A bird will starve to death there. You will starve to death there. You cannot find enough nutrition there to feed yourself. It's not there when it should be everywhere. Every millimeter of it should be loaded. Everywhere you look, it should be just a wonderful experience, unimaginable, And the feeling I had was destitute. I went on this beach. Hang on. I went on that beach, that's the little Zodiac. And I just sat there. I'm waiting for the tide to go a bit lower. The tide was down, it was a super moon during that period. So the tides were down to like 9 inches. Amazing low tides. These are amazing low tides. You can see how high up the bank, right? And there's only several feet of water underneath you. But it doesn't look like that everywhere you go. It's shocking, see? The other 4 million species didn't recede the coastline. Okay, let's go back. Once again, we covered 15,000 miles of the coastline, up close and personal, and there's a Zodiac that goes on the roof with an 8 horsepower, and that I go ashore to 5 or 6 islands every day, and I post those pictures up at the nuclearproctologist.org with the GPSs of those spots. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I've done everything I could do. Rain with 20 million particles of radioactive iodine per liter fell in the U.S. during Fukushima peak. And so this was NOAA's model based on 40 days. It's just cesium 137 and iodine 131. But there was 10 times more iodine 132, 30 times more iodine 133, 31 times more iodine 129 with a 15 million year half-life is missing from that model. But that model didn't include all the reactors or all the releases. Right? None of the models do. This model is based upon the same input from just a single reactor. It's not based upon the multiple melted reactors in Japan. And just for context, before we jump into the rest of these studies, Japan had a 9.0 earthquake. It traveled through the country at 9,000 miles per hour. 9,000 miles per hour. Shook the country for 6 minutes. It was considered 1,000 times stronger than the earthquake at Haiti. There was hundreds of aftershocks in the next day and a half to 2 days. High shocks, big shocks. A tsunami inundated the entire coastline. It wrecked the coastline. It ripped out 2,000 square miles of that coastline, but it went directly into the nuclear power plants and they exploded. They melted down. This is Unit 1. 100% meltdown, melt through, melt out. Unit 2, 100% meltdown, melt through, and melt out. The worst thing that could happen, many times worse than Chernobyl, each one of these. Unit 3, 100% gone. Unit 4, all the inventory gone because they detonated. They need 1 million gallons a minute. And that's not 1 million gallons a minute for each reactor to keep it cool, to stop it. Within 90 minutes, it starts to melt down. The whole country lost the infrastructure. There was no way to get power in there. They all melted down. This is Unit 3, and Unit 4 rather, and Unit 3 was mixed oxide fuel. That was considered 2 million times worse than any current reactor on the planet. Any current reactor on the planet, 2 million times worse. So divide that into 400, take 440 reactors, divide it into 2 million times. Now, yeah, what really happened there, though, was worse than that. Just that one reactor. Because it was already gone through a chain reaction. They reclaimed the plutonium, reclaimed the uranium. This was from old missiles that are 40 years old or more and are unstable already and are already 2 million times worse. When you put it through a chain reaction now, it's a couple of billion times worse. It's consuming the rocks, the steel, the rebirths, atomizing, aerosoling, ionizing, and radiating them and releasing them into the environment. It looks like steam. It looks like smoke. But a piece the size of the top of my pinky, a gram, is 1 million watts. A gram produces more atoms than every grain of sand on every beach on the planet, and distributed out, that's enough to give every human on the planet a cancer. But the cancer takes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years to manifest if it was just a single exposure, and it will. But before that, you'll have 1,800 autoimmune deficiencies showing up. It's like Alzheimer's, dementia, heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary glands. Many, 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 many. And so let's get rolling. And let me find my spot here. I don't know where I'm to. I'm not way up there, I'm sure. There you go, I got it. And so although tritium is not an external radiation hazard, it can present serious contamination problems. It can present serious contamination problems. That's why I've been showing you all these studies. But that's just tritium. All the other isotopes are applicable. But tritium is the one that they're pushing down everybody's throat. So tritium is the one we got to come out and kick around like a soccer ball. Not a buckyball, like a soccer ball. Big difference. And the buckyball is created by spraying the salt water on the reactors. It created a sulfur peroxide hydrogen, what they call a bucket. It's like a buckyball, a spherical shape to it, where it's able to ingest an atom and isotopes or the particles or the elements and turn it into a little nuclear engine that's not solutable in water, but is transportable in water, and is also easily transportable. It's 1/10,000th of a millionth of a meter long. So divide a meter by 1 million, divide 1 million by 10,000. That's kind of what we're talking about. It's 1,000 times smaller than the forest fire particles that come across in the jet streams from the same countries. And so the studies I'm going to show you, tritium environmental risks in future fusion reactors, is just to make you understand that tritium is heavily studied and that tritium will always be a problem if we don't deal with it. And fusion reactors are not going to be the solution because we got study after study after study after study after study after. There is no way to filter this out. You can't filter it out. So don't create something you can't filter it out and release it into the environment and tell me or anybody else it's like a banana or potato chip or walking in sunshine or getting on an airplane. God, I'll knock your fucking teeth out if you try saying that to my fucking face. I don't care who's there. I don't care if I go to jail for it. If you say it to my face, there's nothing I can do about it. It's called a trigger reaction. And any jury on the planet will agree with me. There was nothing I can do about it. They got an education, they know better. When they say it to me, it's an insult, it's a smear, it's a challenge. And I will rise to the fucking challenge. And I probably will be the only person out there on the planet that'll do it. I'm the only person on the planet that'll get out there and go fucking toe-to-toe with these people, I can assure you. Because I know the difference. You can't bullshit me. That's all I'm saying. You know, I live in a wheelchair in a hospital bed. I can't even throw a can of soap at you if I wanted to. But I can beat you up with words. I gotta say shit like that because otherwise they knock, 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 mister, we got a warrant for you. What do I do now? I don't smoke cigarettes with 7,000 chemicals in it. Mine it doesn't have 7,000 chemicals, CNT. There's no irony in that one either. Add an extra letter in there. That's what you shouldn't use that word, I know. You gotta realize where I grew up to. It's like saying pass the pepper. The rationality for environmental tritium program carried out in the frame of technology, fusion, and safety programs are exposed. I've exposed a few things too. So radon and tritium, I love that one. But let's keep going. Oh yeah, that's right. So, and look what it was for tritium. What was the year of that study? 2005. And it shows that natural radiation was 8.6 becquerels a liter. Now we got, hang on, 20 million in a liter. Iodide. And we got 7,000 becquerels a liter of, right? So when they say iodine 6 becquerels a liter, kind of conflicts that last headline I just showed you. Don't it? 20 million becquerels in a liter. There's no irony in what I'm doing, I'm sure. Get me arrested and kill all my equipment with the cyber from Victoria Police Department in Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada, who used sophisticated software with the FBI to censor me online, still doing it to me without a warrant. Still, and that's in a disclosure from arresting me and claiming that I was harassed in public pukes. Very convoluted. We got to go to court again on the 28th. It's over the top shit. Here we go. And so, attempt to modeling the atmospheric transport of tritium-3H around the site. Modeling. You want to see modeling? I'll show you some modeling if you like. That's all you want to see, some modeling. Here's what the modeling looks like for North America. That's from Japan's melter reactors. Only includes a couple of days releases. So what would all the reactors include? What does that mean? It means we're in big shit. We're in a lot of trouble. And that we can't hide this no more. And that we can't play this game of stocks with the Globe and Mail anymore. These are murderers. That's murder. What they're doing is murder. What you're looking at is murder. That is murder. It's just not running up and stabbing somebody with a knife, is it? But it's still murder. Just because you don't kill him right away. Like if I shoot you and you die later, 10 years later from that shot, I get charged with murder. Yeah? And so what they're doing, you're telling you that it's safe and it's okay, that's murder, because it's not, and they know it. I got the studies to prove it. But for transporting it around the planet, I don't know why my frigger does that. Prediction of downwind tritium air concentrations. Downwind. Downwind. You see the models I just showed you? Does that look like downwind to you? It's called a jet streams. And they don't respect any borders. Or your children. Or your animals. Or your friends. Or your families. Or your community. Or your co-workers. Or the people that you're bringing your check home if you're a PR firm. If you work for a PR firm, you can't turn over a new leaf. You're too entrenched in the system. If you worked for the nuclear industry, you can't turn over a new leaf. It doesn't work that way. You're too entrenched in the system. People that come out and parade themselves as converted because of Fukushima or something like that is nonsense. I don't believe a single one of them. Particularly anybody that worked for a nuclear PR firm. They got a streak in them that'll never go away, and it's mean. Trust me. It's a vicious streak. There's nothing they could ever do to rectify the damage they've done. Nuclear PR firm is the abomination of the human spirit. A nuclear PR firm, anybody that works for a public relation firm and advocates for nuclear, or climate scientist. This is somebody who went and got an education to promote nuclear. A climate scientist is the worst thing imaginable. That's the worst thing possible on the planet, is a climate scientist. That's your mortal enemy in every sense of the word. A climate scientist went and got trained to come out and promote nuclear. To demonize everything else and promote nuclear. Carbon free. Oh, it's the greenest thing out there. And you can't tell them anything. You can't say, hey, what about the 5,000 abandoned mines in Navajo? What about the Pacific Ocean? What about Chernobyl? No, they got a quick fix for everything. Oh, it's better than all the coal. No, coal, you just got to move a couple of miles away, you'll be okay. Fukushima or any nuclear power plant, you drive by it, it sequesters in your organ, you got a cancer. A single atom. A single friggin' atom. I'd rather drive by 50 coal plants every day than drive by a single nuclear power plant. There's a nuclear power plant is the most insidious thing imaginable. Coal's responsible for 1 million people dying every year. There's 100 billion died on the planet already. Die from volcano ash, you get enough of it in the air. Die from alcohol, you get enough of it in your system. Die from all kinds of things. But that's stuff you choose to do. And you can cure yourself from illnesses from coal. You cannot cure yourself from illnesses from radiation by going down the path they got for you to give you more radiation. It's the stupidest thing. This is maniacal. They got an education, know better. They know better. But that's big money, $50,000 of chemotherapy crack. It's not about, these people do not like the human experience. They don't like any of the 8 million species on the planet because that's what Japan is going to do. It already killed the Pacific Ocean. I just showed you that earlier. That's dead. The 4 million other species didn't recede the coastline. When you take the 5,600 residential out, the 4 million other species. Start screaming here in a second. The direct transfer organically bound 3H. This is man-made. But it's bounded to something that you eat. Of diet. These are pre-Fukushima studies. In the human body is reasonable. Since the human body needs essential amino acids and fatty acids. And that's how this stuff works. It works in that same exact path. It assimilates into your system the same way as the natural calcium and magnesium and iron and carbon and cobalt, the natural stuff. That's why they named it the way they did. This is man-made from uranium. All the elements from chain reaction that got the extra electrons attached to them from a neutron bombardment is what we talk about. These are dirty bombs. So everything, like when you got uranium in the ground, it's not a dirty bomb. When you put it through a chain reaction, now it's a dirty bomb. You can refine it up to that point and it's still really dangerous. The simple equilibrium assumption means completely neglecting past 3H concentrations in the human body when the model consists of compartments which have long... it's in your body for 120 years. If you're drinking 7,000 becquerels in a liter and getting a bat in it and cooking food in it, it's not like you had in a single exposure and now it's going to kind of like, you might purge some of it out of your body, 20-30% of it out of your body, but the rest of it is going to sequester. You're constantly putting it in your body. You're constantly accumulating it. The natural stuff, your body has a mechanism for it. It's called homeostasis. And so if I drink potassium 40, then my body off-gases the same amount. It doesn't work with that with tritium. It doesn't work that way with strontium. It doesn't work that way with iodine. It doesn't work that way with cesium. It doesn't work that way with the 10,000 radioactive isotopes that we recognize are man-made but are classified. Because they don't want to tell you what the frig they're doing and how bad. They just want to tell you about cesium and iodine and strontium over and over and over, and now tritium. But they took the tritium model that I showed you off Health Canada's site over the last few weeks. They snuck it up there a couple of years ago. And we blew that out of the water, and that's why they tore it down. They put up another one. And the other one now says it causes lung cancer, leukemias, breast, liver cancers. But it's not the same type of model looking. It's not right in your face when you come to the page anymore. You got to look around. It's at the bottom of a very long page. That's called hiding it. The carcinogenic properties of ionizing radiation are thought to be a consequences of the DNA damages it caused. Such DNA damage includes single and double strand breaks, DNA protein crosslinks, base loss with information for AP sites and chemical modifications of the bases. Don't ask me what it means. Outside of it destroys your DNA. You can't get a scientist to come out and tell you what it means. You can only read the abstracts. That's coming though. We're raising money to get a TriCaster, among other things. You know, because we got to keep this thing afloat until it floats itself, until it finally finds its way out there. And I got to produce a documentary and everything else of the Fukushima expeditions for life. And I got a 900-pound gorilla on my back censoring me all over the internet and screwing with me and demonizing me and trying to marginalize me successfully on the internet and everywhere else, which is the stock exchange for uranium, which is all the nuclear PR firms working together to enhance each other synergistically, because I'm the only target they got out there. I'm the bullseye. I'm number one enemy, you know. The number one enemy is Dana Durnford TheNuclearProctologist.org, because we went out and showed everybody the whole coastline is now stripped, and that explains why all the animals, mammals, and birds, and all the bases of the food chain itself have disappeared. Now, the phytoplankton, the bases of the food chain, the oxygen and carbon sequestering chains are gone. In the Pacific Rim nations, anyway. The krill is gone. That's why we're seeing all the emaciated whales. And here's another story coming up of the whales. Let me see if I can find that before I click on anything, I suppose. I may not even have that. Yeah, the baffling mystery, this Christian Science Monitor. It is so tough to be and do the things I do. It's so tough just to get ready for each of these streams. It's like from the second I wake up in the morning till 10:30 a.m., it's panic for me. Trying to do what I can to get out here and get the stream to work properly. And it's so exhausting. When the stream is over, I am ready to collapse. And so I don't know, you know, sometimes it was worth it, this much energy for me. I don't feel like I can sustain it with a 900-pound gorilla on my back all the time on top of that. And court case against me, you know. That is unbelievable what he got done to me in the media. It's absolutely categorically a smear campaign. There's no other way you can explain it. And that how did I become the bad guy? How did I deserve this? But after 260 days on the ocean, I come ashore and I get arrested, so I can't tell anybody and show people and finish out what I was doing. And that I'm tied up in legalese, and that I've been stripped of assets and stripped of mobility. I got 12 restrictions on me. My freedom of speech has been destroyed. But I still come out and manage to find ways around it. And that's because I plan it out and I work really hard to come out with these streams. And that I can't just sit here and not do what I'm doing. I can't sit here and be silenced. I can't sit here and be shafted and shanked by this heartless, soulless industry known as the nuclear industry. And the nuclear PR firms are the ones who have strategized and engineered my takedown and the demonization and the vilification of me in glee. In just glee, pure glee with every success. And then when I get out of jail, my site is taken apart with strikes, illegal strikes, and no one to hold them accountable. I have no one to turn to. Even Google won't even listen to the fact that everything I had there was legal. They won't even reply. And so I have all these strikes on my other account, and I can't even live stream and appeal for common sense. And that no matter how much I show people, these types of people, they are looking for an 8-second clip they can clip out and use against me later. They'll go through everything I'm showing them, all the facts, and they'll laugh and probably jerk off the whole time. And then they'll hear me say something they think they can use against me, and then they'll chop that out. But that's what these people, these are vicious thugs. And they have massive amount of money. I have nothing. I have to raise money all the time. I have no options. But if I don't do that, I have to give up. It's either raise the money and continue forward and build a resistance against this, or give up and take the beating they're going to give me anyway. And so what do you do, right? How do you go about that? How do you find a way forward when that's what they do to you, without no one to hold them accountable, without any media, with any checks and balances? And what do I do for you? I show you, no matter who you are, I don't care about your religion or your race or your color or your ideology. I just care that you might show up on my video, and here's your opportunity to learn another narrative and understand that you do got to go down the rabbit hole a lot deeper. And that is not easy, but I can make it palatable and digestible. And if that's the small part I can play in helping you, then that is worth all the effort and time, energy, and the vicious attacks I'm under all the time. I mean, I've been threatened on my phone, on my cell phone, that they're going to pick me up and blowtorch me if I don't give it up. I've had my Zodiac stabbed with a knife and ripped on the bottom with my little Zodiac, so when I launched it in an emergency, it would sink. That was done on purpose. I was demonized at all the hotels. They called up the hotels I was going to be staying into. Not that I stayed in a lot of them. I stayed on the boat the whole time pretty well. But when I did stay in a hotel, they found out about it. They called up the hotel management and harassed them and said I was a fraud. And they accused me of vicious and violent crimes. And they make it up. They made up sites where they got people claiming they were my nephews and my nieces and my friends or my neighbors, and I have no idea who these people are. And that the blogs, no matter who talks about me, I'm vilified in the comment section and slurred without any kind of... I can put out all the data you want. They'll chop out that 8-second they think they can use against me and save it and come out and slam me with it with no context. And so I have to gut up every day and come out and still try to inform people without the bias of what I know is being done to me when people try to listen to me. If you go into the comment sections, you'll see if it's not on my site, because I can control it, because it's outrageous. I can't deal with it. I can't respond to it, because I tried that. It doesn't work with these people. Like all the data that I'm showing you doesn't work with these people. All the studies I show you do not work with these people. The pictures do not work with these people. The heartbreaks do not work with these people. The victims down there themselves, just the amazing amount of victims, particularly children, they come out and attack them constantly and say their parents are radiophobia and that it's just like a banana. It's like potassium 40. It's like walking in sunshine. It's like getting on an airplane. But how can people sit there and allow them to say that? Because they're paid to put them up there in the media with no checks and balances, with no counter-argument, no left, no right, no center, no far left, no extreme right, no middle, no alternative narrative whatsoever. Here's a professor, and it's a blatant lie. When you look it up, you see it's a blatant lie. But I tell you nothing about the truth, and I'm a bad guy. I tell you nothing about the truth, I get arrested. I tell you nothing about the truth, and I'm attacked and demonized and ridiculed, marginalized constantly, endlessly, like a perpetual fucking machine out there. That's not supposed to affect me. You know, I don't know how that works. You can't get away from it, see? I can't get things accomplished with all this on my back all the time. And that's what it was all about. And then you can't raise donations because everybody's like, oh, maybe he said it. And all the comments are, Dana shouldn't have said it. He said what? You shouldn't have said that without fucking finding out what I said or looking at the video or directing people to the video that I was talking about. That was never done a single fucking time. The 2 videos that were in question were never fucking mentioned, were they? Just the 8-second soundbite without no pictures or videos or no context what I said before or after. And so the Globe and Mail is pushing uranium stocks all the time. Globe and Mail doesn't stop demonizing me and pushing uranium stocks. And they set it up. They came out 4 days before I was arrested. It broke a story that somebody was being harassed, and then they come out and vilified me with death threats. I'm charged with criminal harassment of a puke. A known puke. That I'm not the only person who's ever called him a puke. That was done long before I even knew what his name was. Everybody called him a puke. But I was vilified because I was the guy getting traction. I was the guy showing you the documentation. I was the guy who put the work and time and energy in to figure it out and to gather it up, to collect it and aggregate it and organize it and present it in a way that would tell a story, would tell the right story, would tell a true story about the nuclear industry. Unfortunately, that's what I do. I tell the true story. I don't pick sides. And if it's bad, I'll tell that story of it. There's no good side to nuclear. I can't tell you a good side to nuclear. I would if I could. Yeah, but nuclear is good for this and good nuclear. I can't do that. I proved that over and over. I can't show you something good about nuclear. Its entire history I've showed you. It's up at the NuclearProctologist. It's bad. Every speck of it. It's releasing radioactive materials in everybody's community all the time. And he built them right in communities. Knew what they were doing. They knew it would distribute the cancer out. No one could work it out. Because they control the media. They control the alternative. They provide the alternative. They provide the narratives through their radio shows that they support and that muddle the water with their guests. Nuclear Hot Seat is one of them. And there's many of them out there that do that. And there's no checks and balances for them. They're insignificant, right? But there's thousands of them when you look at them all together. And together you can't have a conversation because you got this one little candle light in a big city and you're looking at it from space. You can't spot it. That's me in that little tiny candlelight. And that's what Chernobyl is, a little candle compared to Fukushima, compared to the releases from Fukushima. But look at this. Let me click through a couple more of them and then go back to the whales. Time to buy uranium, the best way to play it. Globe and Mail. The Globe and Mail. Over and over. No turnaround in sight for this uranium miner. These are the people who come in and accuse me of death threats. When I'm charged with criminal harassment and nuclear pukes that'll get thrown out because they haven't got a leg to stand on. Because they drummed this up to take me down and rip down 300 of my presentations like this so you couldn't understand the documentation. Japanese fishing boats can make it over. Pallets can make it over, but not radiation. No, I got to push out nuclear and uranium. These people are mentally friggin' ill. Why uranium stocks are jumping is because you hit everything. It's because you misrepresented everything. It's because you misplaced your humanity, because you don't have one, because you're a pathological liar, a psychological burden to your family, your friends, your loved ones, and anybody that ever come in fucking contact with you. It's because you're not playing by any rule that we recognize as the human function. Because you don't have emotions like the other species that are on this planet. You don't have empathy. You don't have apathy. You're like something, like a fucking rock or something, where you would kill the entire planet to make another dollar. So you can have some other gidget or gadget. You buy more stocks. Gotta buy more fucking stocks. Gotta buy the stocks. Buy my fucking stocks. It's uranium. Buy it. We make money. I make money. I can't do anything else. That's what you'd like. You're fucking vicious thugs. Nuclear watchdog, I recommend distributing a whole lot of whoop ass to them fucking idiots. Wow, let's give them fucking iodine. Yeah, then you can't sue us. Because that just means your thyroid's not going to die because it's a gland. You take iodine because your thyroid is a gland. You can't transplant a gland like an organ. And if that dies, it rots. Oh, but don't worry, they're coming up with treatments. Yeah, because they know what they're fucking doing. And they want the market, and they know it's going to be big. I got a market coming for them. Reality. When people find out in the very near future the last fucking whale will be dead. And have a look at this. The whales never showed up in Hawaii. Now, I've done a couple of Hawaii interviews, radio shows, right across Hawaii. And I tried to cover 50 headlines I had for one show. We got through like 30 of them. And so that was awesome. That was more than I was expecting. But if they had let me go, I would have got all 50. But as you read through that, the nuke pukes are there. Oh, no, they never showed up because there's more of them out there. I'm not making that up. That's their excuse. Oh, there's more out there because that's why they're not there now. They never showed up like they did for the last 30 years. And people have flown out there and taken pictures for decades and are saying can't even find a single one. That don't mean some of them won't show up. But the humpback pictures that I took on the 260 Days Fukushima Expedition for Life were emaciated. The ones that are washing up throughout the planet here are emaciated. They're dying because there's no krill, there's no anchovies, no sardines. Because those humpbacks are dependent upon krill and herring mostly, and squid and anchovies and sardines, and they're gone. They're gone because of Fukushima. And that the coastline was eradicated because the ocean currents at 5 miles an hour, 24 hours a day, times 45 days is 5,500 miles. So every day behind it was another plume. It's not like it was just a single plume coming out of Fukushima. Chernobyl lasted 10 days, 400 Hiroshima bombs. Fukushima didn't stop. And each reactor is 3 times the size of Chernobyl. Each reactor had reactor cores on the roof. that caught fire, blew up, melted down, caught fire, blew up, melted down for 5 years straight almost. There's nothing left. It's just whatever melted down is left, but everything else was atomized and aerosol. But now it's consuming everything around it and releasing that. And it's ionizing and radiating that. It's a fucking perpetual machine. Perpetual murder machine. We got to do something. We got to deal with this. And we have the capacity. We got that capacity. We got the capacity. That's all there is to it. We can produce all these studies. We already understand how this stuff works very well. It's all locked away behind Elsevier, Springer, and Wiley's 22,000 publishers. You know why they got multiple barrier containments for the tritium? Because it's friggin' dangerous. And certainly assessment of environmental tritium measurements in water. Because everybody's getting paid by the nuclear industry to get a different reading. Hang on a second. But they're talking about pre-Fukushima. They're talking about just normal releases, which are massive. That's why all these studies were done, because of normal releases. And direct energy conversion. Lasers. That's why they're creating the wicked isotopes, is for those lasers. On top of that, tritium breeding and direct energy conversion are key technology problems for what they wanted in the development of practical fusion reactor. It's because you release so much tritium from a breeder reactor. A breeder reactor creates more than it puts in there. That's how twisted that is. It's the worst thing imaginable. It's the stupidest technology imaginable. These are, oh, we got to build it so we can go travel to space and fuck that up too. Not on my, look, the NuclearProctologist.org is a think tank. It's a think tank. And the idea is to stop proliferation of any nuclear into space. Even if it kills the planet, we got to stop it from going into space. Yeah, they're slipping it out there, but ultimately we will win this battle. The last thing we want to do is send the human fucking species we got right now into space. That is the last thing we want to fucking do. That is the very last thing we'll ever do. We do not need to send the human fucking elites, that inbreeds we got in charge right now, anywhere near another planet or another species. They fucked up 8 million of it, and that is our duty to control that and deal with it and try to rectify it and change the fucking future. That is our obligation. We are obligated as a species on the planet that can talk English and drink fucking water. That's all the qualification you need. You don't even need that. Talk any language you want. But just to be we are the stewards of 8 million species. This is our fucking obligation. Because we are the ones creating this fucking mess. We are the ones who sat idly by and let it happen and allowed these fuckers to exist in the atmosphere they exist. To get an education to know better and come out and tell you a lie. You got to fucking deal with those people. You got to deal with them any way you got to deal with them. They got to be fucking dealt with. They're not going to stop lying. We got to stop them from fucking lying. That's how that works. No one's going to hold them accountable until you hold them accountable. That's why I do what I do. That's why I make the stand that I make. That's why I take the chance of being prosecuted. It's because that's the only thing we got left. Someone has to fucking do it. And I'll do it by myself if I got to. Not that I got to. But sometimes I got to. You're not going to court. I'm going to court. I'm going to court because we all agreed that somebody had to make the stand. And that when that time came, we all agreed that you got to support me. And so that's what we're doing. And that's why I'm able to continue to go and do the things I'm doing. It's because you support me. And that's why I march on every day with what I do. Tritium in streams, well waters, atomic lakes. Not molecular tritium lakes, but atomic lakes. Atomic tritium lakes. From man-made fucking radiation. That nothing can live in harmony with. Nothing! There's not a species out of the 8 million species on the planet could fucking live in harmony with it. The risk of leukemia in young children from exposure to tritium. The risk of leukemia in young children from exposure to tritium. The risk of leukemia in young children from exposure to tritium. Well, how many kids are being fucking exposed to tritium with that one? 7,000 becquerels in a fucking liter when it used to be 8 becquerels a cubic meter. Dana, you're just taking it out of context, Dana. You say it to me face, I'd knock you fucking out. The isotopes effects of tritium and 3H adrenaline. So your adrenaline allows it to be uptaken. Think about that one. Think about how adrenaline is always a part. And so when you get a rush of adrenaline, you get a rush of tritium intake, especially if you're drinking water or you're in the bathtub and you get a fright or something like that. Or your child's walking home in the rain and they're skipping along. And it's just more of it going in your system. Observation of bottom water renewal and export production in the Japan basin. EC using tritium and helium isotopes to trace it. And what does it show? It shows the ocean currents are fucking real. Look at this beta spectroscopy. I can't even pronounce that one today. If I say it too fast, I can pronounce anything anyway. Beta. Look at the money symbols alongside of it. Beta. I couldn't remember why I had it. In 1997-2001, a residual analyst of the data set yields to the square of electrons, the mass to final rest. I don't know what that means. And you won't find anybody out to tell you what it means. No one's going to come out and tell you that. No, not about Fukushima anyway. That's the context I'm talking in. Calculations of radiation-induced DNA damage from protons and tritium beta particles. Think about that. Calculations of radiation-induced DNA damage. Why were they doing that? For tritium. Why were they doing that for tritium? Because it's man-made. And you got 7,000 becquerels in a liter in Canadian drinking water standards. No one's going to tell you why. No one told you about it. No one bothers saying, hey, by the way, except for Dana. The measurements of tritium activity in natural waters. Well, they got H3 there, see? Right? That's tritium in natural water. That's why they call it natural water. Tritium was the H3, but they didn't bother putting 3H there. External gamma irradiation on atomic aquatic animals. Atomic animals. Downloaded 637 times. That's a lot. That's a 2012. Who knows how much they fudged that one? Faunal receptors of a whole range of pollutants, including radioactive ones, because the majority of nuclear facilities are connected to either rivers or marine environments. And so they need 1 million gallons a minute is why they're connected. It's not the majority of nuclear facilities, they all are. You can't have one without 1 million gallons a minute. How do you not have a fucking river or sea by your side? They took up all the real estate in the democratic countries already with nuclear power plants from nuclear power plants. Oh, we gotta have that extra land for security. Terrorists might get in there and release something. Don't go down there and flip over rocks in front of those nuclear power plants. Fishers will come down and smack you in the head and drag you into court. Disturbing the marine life. There's nothing there. Zero. Fuck all. Because that's what a nuclear plant does. It kills everything. There's nothing that don't fuck over. We're out in the mood today. Is the only radioactive isotope of hydrogen. Tritium is the only radioactive isotope of hydrogen. There's another tritium isotope out there. His half-life is 250,000 years. Wonder that one get ionized and radiated? But that's not the ones we're talking about. These are created by man. We take uranium and create all the isotopes we're talking about. They act like the natural ones, the natural tritium. They act like the natural potassium. They act like natural calcium. That's why they call them iodines and the cesiums, right? Because there are ones in nature that they describe as that. And then they describe the ones we make because they go that same path, right? And that's why we have all these studies, because they know the path that they take in nature. And so they studied to find out how much of it showed up there from man-made. A small fraction of tritium released into the atmosphere from tritium handling or solid waste storage facilities is shown to be in the form of volatile organic acids. And you need that in your body. Same components that were also found, but not that one, but the same kind of organic acids, you'll find them in your body, and it finds its way into the body, is a better way of putting it. But at room temperatures is able to do it even better. How interesting is that, eh? And global monitoring of the isotope composition and precipitation. Yeah, I can't get you the data on that one because it's, you guessed it, locked up behind a paywall. But you paid for the universities, you paid for the academics, but 3 publishers gets the copyrights and then locks it away when it's done. Why do you send your children to university? Why do your children become academics? So they can lock it up and 15 or 20 people get to read it. Is that why? Is that what your whole world is based upon? Yeah. Is that why you don't know anything what Fox or CNN or MSNBC or BBC or CBC feeds you? Yeah. Is that why people like me don't sound normal? Hey, that don't sound, I never heard that anywhere else. He's full of shit. Even though I show you all the studies, show you all the documentation, show you all the pictures, show you all the headlines, I talk nothing but straight talk the entire time. I don't misrepresent anything. I don't take anything out of context. Been at this a very long time. Straight up. But no, he's not from Fox News. Yeah, but he got a nice set. But he's not from Fox News. You gotta admit, though, he got a pretty cool set. I can see his reflection in the desk, for Christ's sakes. He got big screen. Look, I got a fucking 80-inch screen in the background. Yeah, but he's not from Fox News. Yeah, but he got lower thirds and bling, 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 bling. Yeah, but he's not Fox News, buddy. I'm not listening to him. He's not. I don't hear he's not Fox News. He's not Ian Goddard. He's not James Colbert. These are disgusting nuclear PR firms, by the way. These are the lowest of the lowest, and they're still at it. They attack kids all the time. They come out and lie about how kids are damaged all the time. They come out and misrepresent that constantly. No, kids were harmed. No, not by radiation. But I show you study after study after study. Children within 20 miles of a nuclear power plant are 20 times more likely to get cancer, leukemias. Women are 6 times more likely to get breast cancer. No, it's all lies. I didn't see it on Fox News. Didn't see it on Fox News. Anyway, let's call it a night. I fool around too much, I know. Hugs for everybody. Let's go over and call it a day. Oh, I'm right on schedule. I thought it was like 5 minutes in the show early. 2 minutes late. Let's break this opening into a big all screeny so we can say hi to everybody properly. Good night, Daniel. Good day, Daniel. Don't move that one. Move that one, Dana. Just move yourself, Dana. It'd be probably a lot friggin' easier. I'm gonna move myself. Oh, Jesus, now I got it done. Well, I must have that locked in there. I gotta figure out how that works. Hugs for everybody. Mickey, Candace, Terry Ann, Ron Fuller, Lonnie. Lonnie got a radio show. M. Thirst, Shawnee Can, Elaine, Mickey, everybody I don't say hi to. I'm sorry. Scramble Think. Hi, folks. Joel. I know I'm missing people. Starlight. Lori is out there somewhere, I'm sure. Daniel. I haven't got my glasses. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of things to get done. We got a big fight ahead of us. The fight is far from over. But I can assure you, I have your best interests at heart, and that if you can ever see me, here we are. You know that that's what I do. Right? And I'm asking for incredible support. I'm asking for you to take little parts of my videos and chop it up. I'm asking for you to get me out there any way you can. I'm asking you just to try your best, and that's, if you don't succeed, don't worry. That was good enough. And that if you're wealthy and that you're able to donate every month or every week, I can't do things without donations, but I can do what I'm doing because we took the donations we raised and we got the equipment, at least that much anyway, to finish the documentary and to do these live streams and do them in style, and only to get better, and we're raising enough money to be able to do the interviews professionally, and because we need to do that properly. It's difficult, see, to do that part. But that new equipment is going to make a huge difference. You can donate at thenuclearproctologist.org with your credit cards or PayPal, Dana Durnford at hotmail.com. Hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow, hopefully. I'm pretty burnt out. This is 4 days in a row. We got the stream out for New Year. We'll try for a fifth one. And we'll see everybody in a little bit. Hugs for everybody.